All right, ready? Go ahead.
Right, October 1994, 1 week before the signing of the peace treaty. Okay? Tel Aviv, the busiest, fanciest street in Tel Aviv. Dizengoff Street. A bus blows up. Okay? 100 or 200 people killed, a lot of people killed. Hundreds of people are injured. It was the first ever suicide bombing I ever heard of. I had just left and gone back to Jordan, preparing to come back to Jerusalem so we can announce in a press conference, what, the business agreement that me and my friends did,
Put together.
So anyhow, after the press conference, the tourism officer that I made an agreement with, to become my joint venture partner, they gave me a van with a driver guide, one of the top guides in all of Israel. His name was George from Tel Aviv. Amazingly knowledgeable, one of the nicest guys you can ever imagine. So anyhow, we're driving down from Jerusalem down the hills into Tel Aviv because the plan was we were going to be meeting with a whole bunch of others in south of Tel Aviv, in Jaffa, to sit at the wharf at one of the seafood restaurants there and celebrate the peace treaty, because the actual peace treaty was signed only 24 hours ago and our announcement was just an hour ago. And we were going to be celebrating peace, right? So we're driving down, and all of a sudden George says, that bus bombing last week? That's probably in my memory, it's probably the first ever suicide bombing that ever happened, right? I think there may have been some other suicide bombings, but that's my recollection though. Anyhow, he's saying, yeah, my daughter was on that bus. Going, oh, I'm sorry, George, why are you here? It hasn't even been a week yet, and you're driving this van, and he says, no, don't get me wrong, she was the only survivor. A 12-year-old, her name was Savan.
God.
Okay? So, anyhow,
wow.
And I'm going, okay, whoa, man, that's awesome. What happened? He says, well, a week earlier, a friend of ours who's a kind of a guru, psychic, kind of a shaman type of a person, came to the house and he gave her this khamsa, which is actually a likeness of a hand in turquoise with a seeing eye in the middle. He says, put this around your neck, it is going to save your life someday. And she puts it on. She's 12 years old. Now, she got on the bus, the same bus, the Dizengoff number, whatever bus that I used to ride on when I was in Tel Aviv. She gets on the bus, and then as soon as she gets on the bus, this thing breaks and flies to the back of the bus because the guy, So she follows it and she sits where the thing was, okay? And actually, she was just picking it up from underneath the seat, like this, when the bus blew up.
So she was in the perfect safe place to be.
Yeah. Amazing. So I said, well, where's Savan right now? My two daughters were with me. One of them was 10, one was 5.
Wow.
I said, look, what does she think of Arabs? He says, she has been interviewed by most media, and she says, well, not all Arabs are bad. This is one bad person, but I'm sure there are lots of nice Arabs. I said, has she met any Arabs? He says, no. I said, can we go and pick her up? Is she in Tel Aviv? He says, yes. Can we pick her up before we go? He says, oh, sure. I said, I'd love to have her meet my daughters.
Wow.
Yes.
And they hung out together?
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, this is one of the most powerful days of my life, actually. So, we went to pick her up. She met my daughters. They were friends immediately. And she took care of them on the wharf because my daughters did not speak Hebrew. And they played together and while we were, having our celebration. It was awesome.
What'd you learn from it? The biggest thing you learned from it?
The biggest thing I learned from it is that we're all the same people. We're all, there's no difference. We're all just one. We're all just one. We just need to listen to our children and be as children, actually, which is what Jesus said anyway. To enter the kingdom of heaven, you gotta be children.